The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Today is Monday. It is December 21st, 2020. Thanks so much for joining me. Hello and welcome to everyone who's joining us on the stream, everyone who's watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're streaming everywhere. It's good to see everyone. I am excited about our stream this evening because it is our opportunity to reset, recalibrate, chill, talk about the news. Or not, you know, it's, I really appreciate you all, everyone who's tuned in and everyone who's watching. Thank you to everyone who's leaving comments in the comment section. Thank you to everyone. Let's get to the news. That's how we do it. Let's get to the news. So many things to talk about, but first and foremost, I want to play a couple of clips and let's talk about what's happening around the world. Oddly enough, we have not had a chance to talk about international politics in a while. Because America has been such a crap show, and I want to talk about a little bit international politics before we go too much in. But then there's a lot of great videos. Very special shout out to our producers, and shout out to Franco in the chat room. Said Ben's head is looking extra shiny tonight. That's the light above me. Should I just move the light above me? I want to say this before I go. Yes, the LaCroix bin is back. Not for long, but for tonight. And the holiday bin is back. I got on my holiday sweater. And the Disney Dad bin is temporarily back. So let's indulge in the good times and play some clips. This is a story that I've been following very loosely out of Russia. And for many reasons, but I'm going to play this clip and I want you to listen to Alexei Navalny as he pranks. He's one of the opposition forces politicians in Russia. And I want you to listen to this call as he, quote unquote, pranks his would-be assassin. And I didn't believe it when my producers told me about it, but here we are. I want you to listen to this clip. Let's get it started and we'll go from there.
Is that Alexei Navalny called this Russian FSB operative who was part of this elite toxins team that was trailing Navalny for years. They had expertise in chemical weapons. He called him and he pretended that he was a member of the National Security Council carrying out an investigation into how the poisoning operation had gone down. And quite frankly, shockingly, the operative who he spoke to, Konstantin Kudryavtsev, who himself graduated from the University of Russian Academy of Chemical Defense, he actually spills the beans to Navalny. He falls for it, and he gives some extraordinary details, John. He talks about how the Novichok was placed, where it was placed, apparently on...
Now, for those of you, I have to pause because I mentioned the name of Alexei Navalny, and I mentioned that he was opposition in Russia, but I did not mention that he had been poisoned. This kind of just slipped my mind. And normally I would not be this cavalier or kind of indifferent about the nature of the assault that was done against him. But when you just trust me, just keep watching.
The inside seams on the crotch area of Alexei Navalny's underwear. He also talks about his role in the whole operation. He was part of the, quote, cleanup team. And he says that 5 days after Navalny was poisoned, he traveled to the city of Omsk. You might remember Navalny's flight was diverted to the city of Omsk. That's where he landed and spent a couple of days in the hospital before he managed to go to Germany. Well, this operative also went to Omsk 5 days after the poisoning and spent days scrubbing the underwear and scrubbing the pants to make sure that there would be no traces of Novichok. And he also even offers some clues as to why it was that Navalny didn't die when it appears that that was the intention. Take a listen.
Okay, before we play it, I just want you to gather all your thoughts. We're in the middle of it, but now you're going to hear the clip, and this is worth its weight in airtime. Let's go.
If he had flown a little longer, and perhaps would not have landed so quickly and all, perhaps it would have all gone differently. That is, had it not been for the prompt assistance of doctors or ambulances on the landing strip and so on.
The plane landed after 40 minutes. Basically, this should have been taken into account while planning the operation. It wasn't that the plane landed instantly. They calculated the wrong dose, the probability. Why?
Well, I can't say why. As I understand it, we added a bit extra. So...
Well, despite that added dose, Alexei Navalny is still alive. And boy, does this conversation punch a giant hole in the Kremlin's narrative, which has always been to say that, well, while the FSB might have been trailing Navalny, that does not prove that they poisoned him. Well, this certainly would appear to prove it. And we have reached out to the Kremlin.
Okay. Now, hey, you know what I just realized? I've been set free from the faction of American politics that always completely and utterly, totally, just completely dismissed and denied anything bad about Russia ever. I feel like I've been delivered, right? I think everything has actually worked out for the good, because where there's smoke, there's fire. But more importantly than that, I'll get to all that in a minute. I just threw that out there to be just a little bit petty. What Shan, I stopped scrolling through my comments when I saw Shan Williams. She said, Disney Dad will disappear before the end of the show. I'm going to do my best to keep Disney Dad Bendix in here the entire show, right? We all know that's the better version of me. That said, do you understand what kind of chutzpah or whatever you want to call it, spine, or what does it take for you to get on the phone with your would-be assassins and pretend, basically prank them so that you can get out all the information that you need? I guess maybe after you've gone through that attempted assassination attempt that you would be more prone to not care. Right. So I just want to start the show that this evening. There's so many more clips, but I've just found that fascinating because of the overwhelming narrative that we've had around Alexei and around the poisoning. And now he is, in his own way, Navalny has taken this into his own hands and, for all intents and purposes, done a prank call with the people who almost assassinated him. That's all I'm going to say about that. Leave your comments in the comment section and we'll get your comments on the screen. Thank you so much for all joining us. I know it's kind of like just we starting off hard, but I decided let me start with stories first before I start with commentary. Let's take a look at this second clip, and this is a totally different story. Let's keep moving.
Being a Republican is more fun. We don't have to go and burn a city down to feel like we're helping people. We actually are able to gather together in person. I cannot believe that there are some governors telling us that we can't get together for Thanksgiving or we can't get together for Christmas. That is tyranny, and it needs to be fought.
Brother, let's listen again. This is Representative-elect Cawthorn, Republican from North Carolina, saying that being a Republican, well, under COVID, at least as a Republican under COVID, you could still have meetings together. Okay, let's watch.
Being a Republican is more fun. We don't have to go and burn a city down to feel like we're helping people. We actually are able to gather together in person. I cannot believe that there are some governors telling us that we can't get together for Thanksgiving or we can't get together for Christmas. That is tyranny, and it needs to be fought.
I want to tell you guys a really quick story. I'm not going to say my friends, one of my colleagues or friends, associates, person I know, name. But they got together for Thanksgiving, and they even went through the process of making sure that everyone did a pre-quarantine, a 2-week quarantine leading up to Thanksgiving. And my friend, I say colleague, but not, it's my friend, longtime friend, My longtime friend, their entire family did a 2-week quarantine before Thanksgiving. They all went to Thanksgiving, and when they left, 2 of them had COVID. And my very long time friend almost didn't make it. As much as I want to joke about how ignorant this clip is from Representative Cawthorn from North Carolina, as much as I want to laugh and joke about the ignorance of it, the fact is we're coming up on another holiday, and people have not taken into consideration the fact that they need to just stay their butts home. And those type of decisions actually could lead to the death of so many people because of the nature of the holiday season. And when I hear him say this, it's pushing a level of ignorance that supersedes not just common sense, but even your best effort. Because like I said, my friend and his entire family, they all quarantined prior to coming to one house for Thanksgiving, but yet somebody obviously was sick and it spread. The one thing that we talked about this evening, I talked to him this evening, and he's home and he's recovering, and I'm grateful for it, that he's recovering. I have no idea what's going on here. I don't even know where he came from. Come here, Bubba. The thing is that despite their best efforts to do it as correctly as they could, the fact of the matter is that you still, even in their best efforts, people got sick, and thankfully no one has died. That said, okay, I got him. Thank you, Sweet Pea. That said, when you listen to this representative, you realize if they have their way, a lot of people are going to infect each other this weekend. Go get in the bed, Sweet Pea. I got him. All right, they'll see you. Thank you. Come here. Let me get this one. And so even in their best efforts to do it properly, it still spread the virus. And here, Republicans, we're living in an America where we really are staring into the abyss of 3,000 people a day. And America, I mean, obviously I'm choosing my words a little differently, right? But 3,000 people a day are leaving us. And we still have American politicians who are like, oh, it's so cool to be a Republican because we could get together during COVID. Everything else is tyranny. I want to pivot from COVID to this bulimic and ridiculously pathetic stimulus bill. You ready to go back to mommy? You want to stay here? You want to go to mommy? Because daddy got to go off a little bit. And I don't want you to be here when daddy go off because this stimulus bill sucks. You want to go to mommy? Because daddy got to say some bad words. Okay? Give me a kiss. All right, go to mommy. Daddy got bad words to say. Because this stimulus bill was that the House passed, $600 a person. I think I'm trying to decide, is something better than nothing? Yeah, something is better than nothing. But $600 a person, 9, 10, what month are we in now? So we've been quarantining 10 months, our household. Most people have been quarantining 9 months. So 9 months in. And the best this country could do, our collective political infrastructure, the best they could do for Americans, $600 per adult. Corporations are going to be fine. Large corporations are going to be fine, right? Businesses are going to be fine. $600 doesn't cover rent in probably 80% of this country for a 1-bedroom apartment. Most of us are living in a 2 or a 3-bedroom apartment or home. And depending on where you are, even if you're in the South and rent is like what? $1,500 a month for a house like that don't even cover half your rent, right? This is being labeled as a stimulus juxtaposed to the level of ignorance that's coming from the Republican Party that's going to exacerbate the virus and extend how long it lasts. So you have two things happening simultaneously. You have irresponsible Americans in general, Republicans specifically, who are creating the conditions for the virus to expand and to go on without end. In fact, there's another strain, right? We talked about it this morning on Clickbaited Political Thirst Trap. There's another strain of this virus that is mutated that is 70% more contagious than the original. Thankfully, the vaccine is supposed to be sufficient for this latest mutated strain. However, at a clip of 70% more contagious, we're really talking about the confluence of a level of ignorance and the abdication of leadership. Our leaders across the board are either unwilling or unable to do anything for the people. Y'all know me. Still the same OG, but I've been low key. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that messes with my head. Let me see if I can tread carefully here and not go Hulk mode, right? Most people don't like it when I go too Hulk, but when I think about this government and our leadership, from the House to the Senate to the president to just all of our rank and file, our leaders in the midst of a global pandemic, half of our leaders are literally doing things to exacerbate the death. Right? This clip that I just played from Representative Cawthorn literally is engaging in activities at that present moment that will create a greater spread and more death. Right? But then the language and the messaging that has been coming from conservatives throughout this entire pandemic has been one that is so detrimental. I mean, so detrimental to human life. That's just one side of the equation. You have you have half of our American leadership who are literally a death cult trying to get people killed. And then on the other side, you have people who apparently are woefully insufficient and unable to do their job as leaders. I don't care what the reason is. I don't care what the reason is. It is an indictment of America. It is an indictment of America that we have over 3,000 people dying a day. It is an indictment of America that this is growing, this pandemic is spreading uninhibited because of our ignorance. It is an indictment against America that despite the fact that our government wants you to continue to go to a bar during this, I mean, they literally are creating conditions to exacerbate this. They're also abdicating their response. And that is what kind of honestly set me off. As I have been looking at this pandemic over the last year, this has been a long year, and we are already here. We're already a year in. And somewhere halfway through, it really messed up my head. I'm not even going to lie. And I'm not even ashamed to say it, because you know what? We've all been living through a pandemic. We've all been quarantined. We've all seen levels of death like we haven't seen in our entire lifetime. So I think it's okay for us to recognize if we are emotionally and probably mentally not okay. Because when I saw the level of death this summer, but more importantly, the level of abdication of responsibility from our leaders, I don't care which party. It is an indictment against our government. And the fact that the government sat by and watched 300,000 Americans die, and the best they can do right now is $600 per person. See, that's kind of thing to mess up. That's and honestly, maybe I shouldn't blame. Maybe I shouldn't be questioning my mental health, because the level. See, y'all said the Disney dad wasn't going to last long. That he's almost gone. Because when I think about the level that this government has abandoned its people, because you cannot tell me that $600 a person is tantamount to anything other than excuse me, my brother told me to stop saying GD so much, so I'm going to try, Robin. They have ignored the pain of the American people to a level that is treasonous. I think the message that the American government needs to understand is very clear. And I'm going to take a break on this because I do feel my Disney dad going right out the door, and I do want to throw something. I mean, but I'm not afforded the opportunity to be as angry as the situation deserves, because then I'll be labeled as an angry black man. But that's fine. I can handle that. But let me tell you something. Washington, America, not the people, but the government. I think you need to hear something. The American people aren't going to tolerate this shit much longer. And I think that you really needed to take in consideration something. If you pushed a marshmallow soft dude like me to the edge of willing to face you on the streets this summer, go to jail or die, whatever. And what stopped me was my family. I want you to take in consideration that there are thousands of people out there who are so far gone in this journey of pain during COVID-19 that not even their family is going to be able to stop them. I think the government needs to understand that a lot of us have been patient with you because we have family. But I want you to take into consideration that what you are doing with this pandemic and with this pathetic stimulus package on top of the ignorance that comes from half of your political system. What I did, or rather standing down on behalf of my family, I think you need to understand that you are moving us into the situation where we're not going to have to stand down on behalf of our family. We're going to have to stand up as a result of our family. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand the real unique difference of this? If you put people in the position too long, their calculus changes, and it goes from, I'm going to stay home and calm down because I've got children, and it's going to turn into, I've got to get into the streets and tear this country apart because I've got children. And I think that's something that you just need to be aware of. I got to get off that. I'm challenging myself in this episode. I'm challenging myself in this episode to not let myself fall down a pit of rage. But if you think I was angry over that stuff over Twitter over this weekend, you really need to see me back in June, back during the George Floyd protest, because there are levels to this thing, right? And I think a lot of people take for granted that historically it has been when governments make it impossible for families to secure their children that you've seen some of the greatest revolutions in history. And I think America really needs to realize that, you have a faction of this country that is playing revolution. You have the monetized revolutionary complex. The people who actually make money off of talking about the revolution. No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about those cats that are at Publix right now. What time is it? 10:13. Stocking the shelves during a pandemic. I think America needs to understand that if they make it impossible for us to live peacefully with their government, that it is the responsibility of the people to rearrange that government. Now, however that looks to you, the fact of the matter is that this bill is not going to carry people through the rest of this pandemic. It's not. And I get it. Something's better than nothing. But God, watch my mouth. But I would be terrified as a politician to be up there and this is the best that we can do. I would be terrified If I was a leader in this country, I would be terrified to be a leader in America, and the best that we're telling 337 million people that we could do is $600. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take care of these corporations yet again. Holy crap, did I just mess up? Yep. Just dropped something on my sweater. So that thing gonna bother me all night. Let me just act like I'm so passionate about what I'm saying that I'm put it over my heart. And I wonder if America, honestly, y'all see how I'm covering it up. I wonder if America, and when I say America, I mean the leaders. I mean the people who really know the score. I don't mean these first year, Congress. I mean the people who really understand the balance of power underneath, the consent of the governed underneath, and how untenable this American democracy is once you put them in a situation where they can't even feed their kids. All I'm going to say is there's a lot of people far more radical than me who ain't got as much to lose as me. They ain't got no kids to worry about. And what they have to worry about is the fact that you have completely abandoned them. But I'm going to tell you who you really have to worry about. I will say this. You better be doggone glad. I'm watching my mouth. You better be doggone glad, America, that I found a way to take care of my kids during this pandemic. But I also think you need to be very cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of people in this country that you are abandoning and are assuming that they are going to be apathetic enough to let you get away with this. Is that any way to run a nation of over nearly 400 million people? I just think that it's not in the best interest of this country to keep playing this kind of doggone game. I'm trying to replace goddamn with doggone, but it's not as effective. It's not as effective, Robin. I'm so sorry. I wonder if you realize, America, how dangerous of a game you're playing when you're playing with parents not being able to feed their kids. I really want you to look at what popped off the Russian Revolution in earnest. Lenin was cool, but it was the mothers. And it was the mothers being unable to feed their children. And here in our winter of discontent, you just gave Americans the middle finger because the best you could do for the people was $600. I know I just played this commercial, but I got to breathe one more time because I'm going to take this anger and this rage in portions. We'll be right back.
That sounds like a big crowd of beautiful people.
Mr. President, we have...
Hi, Charlie.
We have 4,000 students here. It's amazing to hear from you and our Student Action Summit. And thank you for calling in. I mean, we have your back 100%, by the way. 100%.
I know you do.
I'm going to go back to this clip in a second. That's Charlie Kirk from Turning Points USA. He is obviously one of the biggest sycophants for Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump calling in. We want to listen to that clip, but I also want you to understand this is during COVID. This is during COVID, folks. Listen to how many people are in this damn crowd. Man, humanity has a capacity for ignorance that I just don't know. Like, I like to believe that there's a bright future for humanity. I really preach that all the time. But the level of stupidity from America, I just don't know if we're going to survive. Let's watch it again. Here we go.
That sounds like a big crowd of beautiful people.
Mr. President, we have...
Hi, Charlie.
We have 4,000 students here. It's amazing to hear from you and our Student Action Summit. And thank you for calling in. I mean, we have your back 100%, by the way. 100%.
I know you do. I know it, Charlie, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody there. I've spoken for Charlie numerous times, and we've always had a great time. And we are fighting really for the country, because this election, we won this election in a landslide. They dropped hundreds.
So on time. Not only are we dealing with a pandemic that the leadership of this country doesn't want to take care of, but we're also dealing with a president who still hasn't accepted the fact that he lost the election and is still attempting his coup. Let's keep going.
Thousands of ballots in each state. It's all documented. The problem is we need a party that's going to fight, and we have some great congressmen and women that are doing it, and we have some great fighters, but we won this in a landslide. They know it, and we need backing from like the Justice Department, and other people have to finally step up. But I just want to thank Charlie for the support. Charlie's always been there. I watched you the other night with Steve Hilton, who's a great guy too. And I will tell you, we appreciate it, Charlie.
Mr. President, we have your back, and this is a great surprise. On behalf of all of our thousands and thousands of students, thank you for fighting for our country. God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah. You take care of yourself. Have a good time. I'll see you soon, Charlie. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Wow. 4 more years. Those are young people. Let me say this before I keep going, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this or any story tonight. The best way for me to not snap is to just go through as many stories as I can. And anybody who's been watching the show lately knows I'm kind of predisposed to snap on people. But this is the level of stupidity that's coming from our future. Folks, we better start spending some money to educate and to counteract all this ignorance that's coming, because can you imagine a future that is rooted in the level of ignorance that is being birthed today, right? What we're dealing with is a present that is rooted in the ignorance that was birthed over 50 years ago. Like these morons that in Washington, D.C. are the product of the last 50 years. I'm saying, what do you think America would look like if over the next 50 years, those people in that audience become our leaders as opposed to the rest of us who actually understand that science is real and there is such a thing as truth? I just don't think it bodes well for America.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Let me go to my it's funny. Growing up, I again, hello to everyone in the chat room. We are very live. We are very live. So I'm reading all your comments as you're coming in. Somebody said, have we talked about Jimmy Dore yet? We're not going to talk about Jimmy Dore tonight. That's as much space as he's going to get tonight. I just put that on the screen so someone was like, are we live? Yeah, we're live. 870 people who are watching us right now. Click that like, share, and subscribe button. Growing up, I grew up in a religious household. My father was a pastor for 41 years before he passed away. So like every other day we would watch like TBN, the Trinity Broadcasting Network, John Hagee. We would watch Creflo Dollar, and then we would watch the 700 Club. And, well, Pat Robertson has filled me with so much joy in terms of laughter as an adult, not because of anything he says in a spiritual fashion, but because of just how absurd he really is. So here's Pat Robertson declaring that Biden will be president and Trump lives in an alternate universe, which is a refreshing turn of events because I normally play these clips of Pat Robertson to make fun of him. I actually started this whole segment thinking I was going to be able to make fun of Pat Robertson because I didn't even read the headline yet. And now I got to realize I got to actually say something good because he says something smart. What is going on in the universe?
I think it's all over. I think the Electoral College has spoken. I think the Biden corruption has not totally been brought to of fruition, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the Electoral College. And I don't think the Supreme Court is going to move in to do anything. And I think we're going to see a President Biden, and I also think we'll be seeing a President Kamala Harris not too long after the inauguration of President Biden.
Well, he did slide a little bit of some conspiracy in there, just a little bit, that he believes that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to, that Biden is not going to last. But I mean, at least it's a step in the right direction. At least he's recognizing that Joe Biden won. Let's keep listening.
All his talent and the ability to raise money and draw large crowds, the president still lives in an alternate reality. He really does. People say, well, he lies about this, that, and the other, but no, he isn't lying. To him, that's the truth. He had the biggest crowd on Inauguration Day. He had more people than ever. He was the most popular. He had more people than ever.
No, he didn't.
He was the most popular people. He saved NBC, but with The Apprentice, you go down the line of things.
I certainly hope, oh God, please, either let me be able to retire by the time I get this age, or just go ahead and take me out, because I don't know if he actually needs his money, but your boy Pat is still struggling, even if he's recognizing reality.
Really aren't true, and people kept pointing to them. But because they loved him so much and he was so strong for the evangelicals were with him all the way.
Because they're not even really halfway, anything remotely like Jesus would be, but okay.
But there was something about him that was good, that God placed him in that.
This man, see, he can't even tell the truth without couching it in a bunch of idiocy. So I wasn't too far off. I'm still going to mock this man.
Office for the time. He's done a marvelous job for the economy.
The what? What are we, 30 million people unemployed? I mean, I haven't been paying attention to the numbers this week because this week has been this week, right? But he's done a marvelous job with the economy, Pat Robertson.
But at the same time, he is very erratic, and he's fired people, and he's fought people, and he's insulted people, and it keeps going down the line. So it's a mixed bag. And I think it would be well to say, you've had your day, and it's time to move on.
I mean, there you have it. It's time to move on. But he could not possibly say that the simple reality that it's time to move on without couching it in unnecessarily ridiculous adoration of Donald Trump. And that really kind of is the substance and the core of the type of worship that Donald Trump required, but also that conservatives were willing to give. It's one thing to be a dictator who demands respect, but it's another one to have an entire following of people who swear that you are like the second coming of Christ. And that's what evangelicals did. And that's how we are where we are right now. All right, I want to shift gears. I don't even want to talk about that dude too much more. Here's another clip of Charlie Kirk being Charlie Kirk. Let's take a look at this.
We're going to show you a clip of Raphael Warnock.
Okay. America, nobody can serve God and the military. You can't serve God and money. America, choose ye this day whom you will serve.
What Bible has he been reading?
Just make
the same one I've been reading, by the way. This is a commercial from these folks.
me kind of sick to my stomach.
I mean, he's telling the truth, so I don't know. Maybe you get a laxative or something, bro.
An insult to all of us who've worn the uniform. That statement is as absurd as it is obnoxious. My name is Lieutenant Commander Darrell Wilson.
My name is Meg Peters.
My name is Jeff McDonald.
I'm John Sowers. I spent 9 years in the Navy.
I am a retired United States Army Sergeant.
I was in the Marine Corps for 14 years, and I obtained the rank of Major.
I served 4 years active duty in the military, in the Army.
Okay.
Warnock's comments about not serving God in the military flies in the face of everything we hold sacred in this country.
So,
I'm sorry. I got to back that up. I need to hear him say that again real quick, because I'm not really quite sure if that registered in my heart. Listen.
Flies in the face of everything we hold. I served 4 years active duty in the military, in the Army. Warnock's comments about not serving God in the military.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with Warnock's comments. Because how you going to serve God and be dropping bombs and killing little kids? I mean, seriously, let's just be real. You telling me that it's serving God with our drone program? What's wrong with these people? Let's keep going.
In the face of everything we hold sacred in this country.
So many people have sacrificed their life for this country.
Yeah, they did. So respect to the people who are willing and bold enough to actually do that. But damn it, if we didn't send so many of those people to unnecessary deaths for the profits of corporations.
For us to have freedoms where we can go to church.
Since the beginning of time, the good Lord has raised up armies to fight evil all around the world.
And there you go. Oh, I didn't know for sure if this was going to be the way they spin it. But listen to this. Since the beginning of time, the Lord has raised armies to fight evil. I'm sorry. We're fighting on behalf of capitalism. I'm not even going to play any more of this commercial. We're fighting and have always fought on behalf of American imperialism, which is just the foray into exploiting other nations on behalf of corporations in this country. Literally, that is American history. Without any doubt, without any reservation, America has been rooted in spreading capitalism, spreading democracy, which is the same as spreading American capitalism at the expense of human lives. That's what American history has shown us. But it's also been riddled with people who love to declare that God is on their side and that the murder that they do in their name is okay because the murder that they do in their name is done in the name of God. You mean it's the same bull s that they been doing since the Crusades in the name of God?
You know, those of us who've been out there in uniform, those who are there now in uniform, certainly rely on their faith to get them through the tough times in the dark of night.
I served God and I served in the military, and there was...
Brother, one day you're going to come to terms with the fact that no, you weren't serving God. You were serving corporations. And I know that that's a hard reality. And maybe there might be one, maybe two conflicts in American history that are really rooted in fighting against evil. But wait till you realize how evil America really is.
One night I thought I was not going to live to the next day. I begged God to let me live, and I'm sitting here today.
I went to Afghanistan, and I came home one less.
The night I thought I would not make it, I wrote this to my sister with instructions for her to give it to me at the airport, and I was going to burn it, but I didn't.
I've lost friends and loved ones.
Anyway, I can critique that commercial all day. Yo, wait till we drop this commercial. We're dropping a commercial with Really American. We got two commercials coming up with Really American for the races that are happening in Georgia. We got one in production. We have actually both are in production right now. One is wrapping up production, and the people of Georgia have spoken out. The people of Georgia have spoken out, and not in the sense of, you know, hey, we gotta say, God, this, in order for them to have a position to fight back in this campaign, they have in the Georgia special election, they have had to label Warnock as some type of big bag, scary, angry black man, radical like Jeremiah Wright. And I think what Republicans haven't realized is that, you know, we've had enough time since 2008 to realize that Jeremiah Wright was right, that he was correct, that everything that he said that you try to scare us over in 2008, anyone who had any time of reflection about America would realize that this is he was exactly right. America's chickens have come home to roost. That the country who engages in this type of behavior absolutely has no right to declare that it is the arm of God in this earth, that it's doing the will. Like this commercial itself is anathema to the entirety of well, it depends on how you read the Bible. And that's the problem, because you got people in power with militaries who read the Bible and say, hey, we can use the Bible to justify anything that we want, to kill anybody that we want, to invade any nation that we want, to exploit any group of people that we want. I mean, to destroy any environment that we want, all because we say that God told us to do it in his name. And this is the same game that's been played on the people of the planet since time immemorial.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
All right, we're gonna. I'm gonna go right into the patron party, but I had to take a look at it. There are so many people who signed up to be patrons this weekend. So in context of everything that's happening, I think it is all the more reason for us to have a really good patron party. Let's go.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and get twice the content and unfiltered interviews without any of the commercial interruptions.
Here we go. At this point in every single episode, I'd like to take a minute to thank the people who make the show possible, our patrons. Very special welcome to Colette G, Michael M, Matt L, Allie J, Howard J, Sherry P, Bethany R, Al S, Oias, I can't pronounce that one. Wait a minute. Hold on. Zymaro O, Veronica W, Melanie C, Angela G, Sean H, Chubama, Bruce P, Maya S, Henry K, Angela F, Brandy M, Brian K, Thomas G, Sean K, Lascelles M, Rachel B, Anna and David. Thank you for increasing your prayers. You too become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to patreon.com/the BPD Show, where you get a whole lot more content. None of the commercials, none of the interruptions. You give me the ability to speak power to the powerless for the powerful one and the not.
Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show. Visit us online at thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Check me out. All right. I'm going to try to get some more. I am going to try to get a few more clips in here before the end of the night because my producers made sure that we had plenty of content tonight to make sure that I didn't travel over into the dark side. And I am grateful to all the new patrons who have come to support me, despite the fact that I have been wallowing in the dark side of Ben Dixon. And the dark side of Ben Dixon has no remorse, no apologies. But my producers are wise enough to give me enough good content to make me smile. Special thank you to F1R110. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. F1R10N. Thank you for cheering on Twitch. Living on Borrowed Chai. I love it. Thank you for cheering on Twitch. Nug Wrangler. You got to have them nugs, man. Thank you for cheering with bits. And I want to give a very special welcome to John Ven's Diagram of Desire for subscribing for 3 months on Twitch. Thank you so much. Prism Wing, thank you for subscribing on Twitch. Spram Gus, thank you for subscribing on Twitch. And El Jeffy Super, thank you for subscribing on Twitch. Before I go to the next story, the other thing is we're going to have a New Year's Eve party, by the way. And it's going to be for Twitch subscribers, patrons, and for anyone who has sent us any type of super chat over the year. If you ever send us a super chat, I want you to contact our producers and let them know that you want to be on the list for the New Year's Eve party. The DJ is going to be there, and we're going to jam until the new year. So make sure you join us for that. I want to answer a couple of questions from patrons and from Twitch, and then we have some super chats. I want to get through all those before the hour is up, and then if we have any time left, we will go back to some of the stories that the producers have for me. So let me go to the first question from one of our patrons. ABX says, I would love if Reverend Barber, William Barber, could join the show one day. his organization exactly illustrates your point Marcus and Mundell made, or the point that Marcus and Mundell made, that if black people fix America, America gets fixed. I.e., look at his following. Lots of poor whites, but it is the historical experience and overwhelming blackness of the following that puts 90% ethos in the movement. And if that problem is fixed, the entire working class has become human, because right now, working class equals subhuman. Wow. ABX, thank you. 1, for being a patron, and 2, for sending that amazing question. 3, we have reached out to Pastor Barber, and we're going to try to have him on the show at his convenience. So let's just stay tuned. But I absolutely agree with you. Charles Y on Patreon said, I got an email from Progress America asking me to sign a petition to urge Democrats not to impose a pay-go rule. Now, that's an issue progressives need to be willing to die for. This issue is more than anything else separates real progressives from moderate Republicans, and I concur. Masha said, I appreciate you being open to the feedback and input from your community. I remember you briefly earlier this year had a voicemail segment, and I was excited. I can't wait to see more of the audience participation that you're talking about. Masha, thank you for that comment. We are going to roll out live phone calls. We're going to start in January with our phones. We're going to have our phones back on so that we could talk to you directly. I know that probably will double the show time, but I don't think you guys mind, especially if we're able to do it while interacting with live callers. So look for in the new year, picture us having these live phone calls back. Andy from Ohio. Andy, we love you. We appreciate you for being both a Twitch subscriber and coming to our patron parties. Andy says, Ben has given us Christmas present from the Xmas present in the form of a media company. We are building, and I'm going to tell you about the media company. So we're going to build a media company on the back on all the connections and relationships and my reputation. But I want to reassure you, I'm smarter than me. I know that's a wild statement to say, but I know me, and I know I'm a wild dude, and I know I personally get out of pocket. So the media company that we're building is not going to be limited to me or based on me. We're building it, and it's almost ready to launch, and it'll be here somewhere February. But one of the things I'm excited about the most is that even like today, we had conversations about how can we structure this to be bigger than me, go further than me, and not, if I decide to get out there and do something wild and crazy, like I have a penchant of doing it. That's kind of what I ain't got them all. But to make sure that the company can thrive and survive in my absence. So I'm really excited about that, because I think that one of the things that we do wrong is when we center an individual in a company. This is absolutely the worst thing in the world. So this company isn't going to be centered in me as much as it's going to be centered in voices that are pushing on behalf of the people. And that's one of the reasons. Okay, let me stop, because we've always fought for the people. We've always fought for the people. There's nothing in my catalog of work that has been anything other than fighting on behalf of the people. There's nothing in my catalog of receipts payable, right? Like actual money that has been done for anything other than the people. And so I'm going to make sure that this media company, Andy, is going to be bigger than me, so that if I snap and do something that takes me off the scene and puts me in a little time out for a little while, that the media company thrives and does well, because it can't be based on one person, especially not somebody as volatile as me. So I'm smarter than me. Durable AC says, did you see the ad trailer that someone made using a lot of left progressive commentators? It was really good. Just sent it to David. I have not seen it, but I know David's going to get it to me. So thank you. Little Moni said, hello to Ben's kids. They're so cute. We had a great time today. We went outside. My little girl, I'll just share this with you guys, because we're kind of close to the end, but if we have time, we'll do more. My sweet pea, she was so down today, and I had been noticing some changes in her personality, especially in response to, like, when it's time to cut off the TV or when it's time to get off of a toy or whatever, like her whole disposition. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? Something's wrong with my baby girl. And so my phone died this morning after clickbaiting, and I just left it dead. And I got all the kids dressed and we went outside, and it was actually warm enough for us to go outside and go for a walk and run and just, I got on the trampoline. I'm saying this to say, please, please, please be mindful that if you have been quarantining this long and your children haven't been able to like actually go outside and run and play like every day, you got to think like not just once in the pandemic, but like take your kids outside, folks. Take your kids outside. Comrade V Taco said, I served as chaplain assistant in the U.S. Army, and I believe this country should be updated and rebooted. I'm going to read that again, Comrade V Taco. He said, they said, I served as a chaplain assistant in the U.S. Army, and I believe this country should be updated and rebooted. I say it like this, and I agree with you. I say it like this. Without question, when you look at the crimes of this country, if you don't understand the crimes of this country, just trust me, and we will take you through them, especially as this new year comes in. But the crimes of America, to me, says that America deserves to be destroyed. But we got children, so we can't afford to let it. And America has to be updated and rebooted. It absolutely has to, because they're going to push us into the corner when we're not going to have a choice. And I'm not afraid of saying that because it's just simply the truth. You cannot expect the American people you cannot expect the people of the world to put up with the way America is leading this globe to destruction. You simply cannot. And so it's either America changes its ways like damn near immediately, or America is going to be the impediment that has to be overcome. And however it is overcome, it's not up to me. It's up to the people. Rev Silverwolf said, just popping in to tell you you're greatly appreciated and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, I really appreciate that. We got some super chats that I missed from last Wednesday. Let me hit those because I want to make sure, even though we're late, I still want to recognize you guys. Susan Dunlap, thank you so much for your super chat last Wednesday. Auntie Netta, thank you so much for that super chat. Black Butterfly, thank you so much for that super chat last week. Jonathan Guerrera, Eric Todd, Singing Justice, Spectre 1711, Nick, Honey Eyes, Montcoshire. Thank you all for sending super chats last Wednesday. I still owe some thank yous to everyone from last week. Again, thank you to Judge Westgate for sending a super chat last week. Tonight, thank you to Rhea1313. Thank you for sending a super chat. Justin Horwitz, he's saying, you're right, Dora's an idiot, but forced to vote on a stimulus. Joe Shalom said, I am at a place where I want the Trumpists to lose love. Ooh. Oh, Joe, I don't know if I can read that comment. I'm in Disney dad mode. I can't read this. I'm going to read it because you sent the super chat, and I mean it's not horrible, but it's horrible, bro. Joe Shalom said, I am at a place. I got to change that pronoun because I don't want anybody to soundbite this one. Sorry, Joe. Joe said, Joe is at a place where Joe wants the Trumpists to lose loved ones, and Joe wants them to feel what they have done. All right. I'm going to be honest with you here. I am not going to lecture you because I understand the feeling, without a doubt. But I'm going to say, hold on to your humanity as long as you can. Even when it fails you, you have the right to snatch your humanity back. My humanity fails me every now and then, and sometimes I don't care about other people's humanity, and I am as belligerent as anyone else, and I engage in as much scorched earth, and I will burn it down as everyone else. But you have the right to change your mind and snatch your humanity back, Joe, so don't let them take your humanity. Fadi said, some people don't have family and don't have anything else to lose. They already lost your grandmother to COVID. Yeah. Ellie Void, I always love seeing you in the chat, Ellie. Thank you for that super sticker. Quint said this might be off topic, but how did you and why did you become a socialist? Great work as usual, by the way. Well, quiet as it's kept. I guess I'm a neoliberal because that's what I've been labeled by my friends on the left. But I've been a socialist ever since I realized that capitalism is rooted in greed. And so long as we have a system that's rooted in greed, we are going to destroy ourselves, period. I don't have to go into a whole lot more, but there is absolutely no way humanity is going to survive if we continue to destroy ourselves over the love of some fictitious concept called money, because money's not even real. It is an agreement between us to work together and build together and grow together. We can do that without money, but what money allows people to do is to position themselves above society, right? I have more money than you, so I'm better than you. I'm more special than you. I can do more than you, and I can have more than you. But when you really cut down to what money accomplishes, it is an agreement between people to do something in exchange of something else. And we simply can do that without the need for this greedy system that eviscerates so many people across the globe. So when I realized that, I was like, oh, yeah. I'm done with capitalism. Now, we got to live in a capitalist society. Fine. Do I have to master capitalism to help take capitalism down? Okay, if that's what I got to do, fine. But, let my friends on the left tell it I'm a neoliberal. It's all good. Misty said, Dragon Squad reporting for duty. Late, but I'll rewind and watch the whole thing. Sorry, I missed the Ask Me Anything. I'll get the next one. Thank you so much, Misty. Always a pleasure seeing you there. Ali Bean, thank you for the super sticker. And Daniel Slapkoff said, what is one book that shaped your thinking? First one that comes to mind would be The Community of Self by Naeem Akbar, Dr. Naeem Akbar. And I'm going to be honest with you. I read it like 20 years ago and it changed my life. But I read it recently and I was like, it's cool. It's a cute book. It was a good book. It's still a great book. But when I said it's a cute book, I don't mean it to insult the book, but I mean it to say that the book itself put me on a trajectory that made my way of thinking bigger than the book. And I'm pretty sure Dr. Akbar would appreciate me being able to say that if you never read that book before, the first half of the book is something that really makes you reflect on yourself as a community of desires, of passions, of ideas, of feelings, emotions, and thoughts and perspectives. Like we're complicated people as individuals. And so when I read that book 20 years ago, it really did transform my life. I read it again like maybe a year ago, and I'm like, okay, I didn't even finish reading it because it transformed my life so much that I didn't need to read it again. And so I would, I don't know if it's going to do the same for you, but since you asked, that's the one. Play for you. Okay, cool. We could definitely do that. Thank you for that note. That's it. That's all the notes in the chats. I want to play one more video before we get out of here. And I want to look at your comments in the comment section. We're almost at that point. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I was looking at a comment that was talking about COVID. Yes. I think I did mention that there is a mutation of COVID in the UK that is 70% more contagious. Which is why, like, at first I was joking around with the audience talking about I'm going to wait till everybody I was going to sit in the house for another year and wait till everybody else got the vaccine to make sure everybody's okay. Nope. With the new mutated version of it that is 70% more contagious, but it is still, the vaccine is still effective on it, right? So you're telling me that there's a 70% more contagious version of it out there and the vaccine still works? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not even waiting until as soon as they say the Dixon family can come, we're all going because we don't have time for that. Nah, not this new version of it. This new thing is like on steroids. All right. So I have two clips from Ben Shapiro. We're going to close out on. You guys know I love making fun of Ben Shapiro because one, he's a disingenuous hack, but two, his voice is hilarious. But three, his arguments are so empty and so fatuous. I'm amused by the fact that Republicans think that this is their smartest guy that they have to offer the world.
This is why you have Cartoon Network, which it's a Cartoon Network. Yes, they have Adult Swim, but it is a network that is meant for children. Now attempting to indoctrinate children in this particular lexicon, because it's not enough that they speak this language, it's that you have to speak the language too. In a sectarian war, you have to make sure that people know the rights and people know the rituals. And this is part of the rights and rituals, is adopting this sort of bizarre language and this bizarre philosophy of gender that nobody actually understands because it is utterly...
All right, just for context, Ben Shapiro is flipping out because apparently there's something on Cartoon Network that challenges gender norms. Can I just say, as a Christian, as a straight Christian man, destroy gender norms. Destroy them. Absolutely. Gender norms, no. Absolutely. Destroy them.
Internally incoherent. So Cartoon Network put out a tweet yesterday. Here's to not only normalizing gender pronouns, but respecting them too.
And he's not even talking about gender identity, he's talking about the pronouns. This man is triggered about a tweet over some pronouns. Listen, family, if you want me to call you they, them, it, what does it hurt me to call someone their preferred pronoun? It literally takes nothing for me. All it does is make me think of split second more and makes me go, but you know what? If you actually care about somebody, I think it's worth it.
You use he, she, them, or something else, we acknowledge and love you, right? Because this is all the things, right? This is the elements that were just mentioned in that Edsel column, right? By that tweet signifies all of them, right? It's othering. If you don't agree with us, then you are a member of an outgroup. It is treating people as though they are bizarre and exterior. And it is moralizing. You are not loving and you are not good unless you use the sort of language that we want you to use, even if that language is actually counter to reality, counter to biology, and counter to the ability to communicate clear ideas.
Bruh, I don't even need to know what gender a person was like, what sex organs a person has. I don't need to know that. It's none of my business. If a person comes to me and says they are they. What is the big deal, my dude? And your voice is annoying the
So they put out this tweet, and it has several graphics of cartoon characters. One cartoon character says gender pronouns describe a person's gender identity. Another one says examples of pronouns are she, her, they, them, and je, jure. A third...
I'm sorry, did je, jure hurt your feelings? Was that it?
Character says, a lot of people are learning about gender. If you're comfortable, you can share your own gender pronouns. And then it says underneath, gender pronouns. We can't tell someone's gender just by looking at them and shouldn't assume we know.
Sounds reasonable to me. Can't judge a book by its cover, right? What, you try to ask them to show you what's underneath the cover? That sounds like sexual harassment to me, Ben Shapiro. What do you want them to do? You want them to show you what's behind the cover to prove to you that they are the gender that you want to assign to them? Do you see how ridiculous this is? I know a lot of people think that it's ridiculous because you come from some traditional background like me. I come from the most traditional background. I had to actually sit there and ask myself, how am I going to be a Christian and align with the LGBTQ community? And you know what I learned about? I need to really reevaluate how I determine what Christianity is, because it wasn't them that had a problem. It was me.
Any gender identities beyond girl or boy. Some people don't identify as any gender. Okay, this is just indoctrination into nonsense because there is no biological basis to this. It is just semantic game playing, but it's not about actually making the world a better place. It's about in-group signaling that you are a member of the loving woke. Okay, that's what Cartoon Network is doing right there. And if you refuse to speak the language, then you are cast out into the outer darkness. And this sort of language characterizes everything that is happening in our politics right now. Gavin Newsom, yesterday, he was tweeting out about the Trump administration saying it would be cutting $200 million in federal health care funding to California because the state requires insurance providers to cover abortions, right? Which is a normal political issue. You'll see Democrats attempt to hold back funds based on pro-life positions. You'll see Republicans attempt to hold back funds based on anti-life positions. Here's Gavin Newsom's tweet. Nothing like the pro-life party eliminating health care during a global pandemic. California will survive without this dollars for now, but their frail, pathetic, patriarchal system they are so desperate to protect won't. Right? That is in-group signaling. When he uses the word patriarchal, you might say to yourself, wait, Gavin Newsom is a dude, isn't he? Yeah.
Folks, I'm going to finish playing it. But if you don't recognize American patriarchy, yes, but patriarchy in general, across the globe, if you don't recognize the dominance of male constructs like the... I'm just going to keep playing because, like, really, this is a man's world. This is the entire construct. some of the main problems that we're facing is because it's rooted in patriarchy. You dumb helium sounding. Let's watch the rest of the video.
Yes. You might say, isn't he the governor of California? You know, the head of that system? Yes, he is. You might say, well, isn't that system, well, wasn't that created by men, the one that he's taking advantage of? Yes, it is. It's not about that. It's about signaling to everybody else he speaks the lingo. The lingo, again, that secret knowledge.
I don't give a damn about the lingo, man. Apparently there's a whole lot more to this, but I don't care about the lingo. I care about the fact that it takes nothing from you as a human being to substitute someone's preferred pronoun. It literally takes nothing from you. Why are we even having this discussion? Because he still can get clicks off of this, and he still can make a whole lot of money off of this. That's why. Because it literally costs you nothing.
The lingo is terms like patriarchal, terms like systemic injustice, terms like je, jur, zay, zem, whom, him, them, whom. Right? All of this crap is designed for one thing and one thing only, and that is to create a secret handshake of the upper crust. That's what that is.
A secret handshake of people who actually are loving enough of other people to respect that they want to be identified as whatever they want. Listen, let me tell you something. I don't know how much of this clip I can play. I got 2 more minutes of it, but I just can't let it play too long. The biggest thing I realize with my faith is that I have the right to express my faith the way I choose. For me and my household, where, you know, where me and my wife intersect and we agree. That's how we raise our family. And that's the prerogative that I have as an autonomous being in this planet. But who determines what's normal or traditional or acceptable for somebody else's house? Not me. I don't determine what's normal next door. They do. So it's not for me to tell someone what they can't do with their body as an autonomous, free moral agent in this lifetime. That's their business. And if for me to be a better neighbor, all I got to do to acknowledge and to respect them as human beings is to substitute and use the pronoun that they want, then let me be a better neighbor. Ben Shapiro. Folks, I would love to play a little bit more of this, but I think I've said all that needs to be said about that. I appreciate every one of you. We're at the end of the show. I would ask that if you would, in the chat room, show somebody some love. Tell them that tell them good night. Tell them happy holidays. Festivus, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Show somebody some love. Twitch, let us know where we're going to raid, if we're going to do any raids tonight. And I guess I was going to end, but because I do want to give you all enough time to get the raid together, I'm going to play a little bit more. But Twitch, y'all get that raid together, because this dude, Ben Shapiro, I don't know how much longer I can last on this one.
The sort of in-group woke signaling does drive a reverse signaling on the part of the right. But that signaling used to be stuff that people sort of considered rote and uncontroversial. So, for example, the left is very angry today because David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, both the senators from Georgia, who are in very competitive runoff races right now, opposed renaming the Atlanta Braves. And people are like, why are they even commenting on this? The answer is because this is also a form of in-group signaling. This is signaling to their own constituents that they are not a member of the woke elite class. Right? They are not going to speak that language. So a counter language has formed in rejection of this language. Now, I'm not saying they're wrong, because they're not. I totally agree with them. I don't think that the Atlanta Braves is an insulting name. I don't think the Cleveland Indians was an insulting name. I mean, even if you want to make the case that the Washington Redskins was an insulting name, which, again, is controversial and I don't really agree with, even if you want to make that case, there's a world of separation between using the term Redskin and using the term Indians, Braves, or like Kansas City Chiefs, right? That you can see the difference on its face. 3 of those terms cannot even be construed as derogatory toward a particular group of people.
Bro, can you tell, have you, I've been to an Atlanta Braves game, Ben Shapiro. I just got to say, I've been to a Braves game. And the offense goes way beyond the name. It's inclusive of the name, but it goes way beyond the name. I mean, sitting in a stadium with thousands of people and their quote unquote war chant is a mockery of indigenous people, I don't know if y'all wanted me to laugh at this or snap on this one. I'm going to try to strike a good balance on it while you guys get this raid going on. All right, get that raid done because I'm trying to get off the air before I snap. Here we go.
Okay, but the idea here from Loeffler and Perdue is this is, again, a form of in-group social signaling. It is saying that the wokes should not be able to take away sort of common items that we used to hold in common. So Loeffler and Perdue released a joint statement on Monday. They said not only are the Braves a Georgian institution with a history spanning 54 years in Atlanta, they're an American institution. The Braves name honors our nation's Native American heritage, which should not be erased. Under no circumstances should one of the most celebrated teams in sports cave to the demands of the cancel culture and the radical left. Only 20% of Georgia voters surveyed said they believe that the baseball team needs to change its name. More than 70%.
I can't. Did y'all get that raid done? Is the raid over? I can't listen to that dude's voice anymore. It's how long is the second video? I got a second video of him, but if it's more than like 2 minutes long, I don't know if I can handle it. Let me throw this up here just so I can see how long it is while you guys get that raid going.
And meanwhile, in social justice warrior land, also a San Francisco high school has decided to rename itself. So San Francisco, this is according to the UK Daily Mail, decided to rename Abraham Lincoln High School. And you're saying to yourself, wait, isn't Abraham Lincoln the president who freed the slaves? Like Civil War guy? Abraham Lincoln? Like not some other Abraham Lincoln?
That Abraham Lincoln?
Ever heard of? Oh yeah, no, it's that Abraham Lincoln, but he's bad now. San Francisco is going to rename Abraham Lincoln High School because the former president did not demonstrate that black lives mattered to him. I'm pretty sure they did, considering that he fought a civil war to end slavery.
Wait a minute. I thought conservatives didn't even believe that the Civil War was about slavery. Which is it this week been?
That seems like a pretty good indicator that somebody is kind of concerned about black lives, that he didn't want them to remain enslaved. But apparently not good enough for the San Francisco woke. Also, the wokeocrats at the San Francisco Unified School District.
Somebody wants to know, why are you giving him a stage? I mean, Ben Shapiro spends like honestly, I'm not trying to mock you, Elizabeth, because you may not be aware of this, but his company spends like $100,000 a month advertising on Facebook alone. I'm not giving him a stage. I'm like, $100,000 a month on advertising alone.
They've decided not only to rename the Abraham Lincoln High School because of his treatment of indigenous peoples through the 1862 Homestead Act and the Pacific Railway Act, but also, they are going to rename a bunch of other schools.
Okay,
44.
Okay. I've done it. Is the raid over? Because the show is over as far as I'm concerned. Is the raid over? Let's get this done because I can't. I want to throw my computer across the room and really just destroy a whole lot of stuff. So if the raid is done, I want you everybody to bid everyone a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate you all. I do want to say this. I'm going to say this about this previous week for anyone who's been following along. I want to first and foremost thank all of the people who still support us, who continue to support us. I want to thank all the new patrons. Like, I had no idea we get those many patrons. And so shout out to every single one of you. I'm a passionate person. And I'm trying to live a life that allows me to be a pleasant person. Being passionate doesn't always make you pleasant. But being rooted in truth, always, I don't have to apologize for anything except being brash at times. But I never have to apologize for the truth. And I think that's why so many people still rock with me. And I think that's why I'm actually kind of happy that the week is ending the way it is. The week of all these shenanigans that has been going on. Lost 12,000 followers on Twitter. I allocated 20,000. So we're in the acceptable parameters. But when I thought about truth, and I'm not going to go into it at all. There's plenty of videos, too many videos. There are too many videos on my channel right now addressing this issue. So please don't ask me to address it at all. All I'm saying is thank you to everyone who left. I actually want to thank everyone who left, because what you've done, and I honestly mean this, is that you've released me, and you've given me permission to not have to continue to deal with a faction of where I got my start in politics. Without question, I got my start in the leftist of all leftist circles. I haven't changed. What I fight for It's still the same, that every single person should have a place to live. Every single person should have food to eat. Not just in America, every single person on the face of this planet. We generate enough wealth for everyone to have a house, for everyone to have food, for everyone to have education, for everyone to have doctors, and for everyone to have a wage, a living wage, a thriving wage. Those are the same 5 things that I've been fighting for since I started this show, be the same 5 things I fight for the rest of my life. If that makes me a neoliberal, then goddamn, I'm a neoliberal. Clip that one. Take care, everybody. I really do appreciate you all, and we're going to have a great time this week with these episodes, and we're not going to let them drain, nah. We're going to thrive, and I appreciate all of you who are thriving with us. Take care, everybody.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.